There you go. Divine Orb, let's go. Whoa, let's go. Another puzzle box. Another Divine. Divine Orb. Okay, Void Board again, Divine again. It's interesting that the ball phase is doing nothing to me. And we can tank the slam, nice. It's gonna be really fine. Look, they are dying very fast. There we go. See? So that was the field. Nice ring. Let's go. Hi everybody, Desmo here. In today's video, we are going to talk about the build that I've been playing for the last 2 weeks, which is Life Stacking Ancestral Commander. So to begin with, why this build is good. There's a few different options if you want to have like the most powerful build of the league. We could speak about Strength Stacking or Energy Shield Stacking. Why this one in particular did got my attention is because if you make the ratio between cost and efficiency, I think this build is better than the other that I just mentioned. If you check the gears, and we will speak about the gears later, the most expensive item is definitely the Focused Amulet. The other gears, they are not that expensive. Don't get me wrong, they are expensive. But if you check strength stacking character to achieve really high DPS and tankiness, it is going to cost 10 times the value of this build or maybe even more. So as you can see in the footage on the background, the build is capable of running absolutely every content in the game. Since we are farming Rogue Exile, I have the implicit on the glove to hit 3 additional nearby enemy. And on top of that, if you want, you can use this mastery, which gives you an additional nearby enemy targeted. And on top of that, we also have the enhancement on the amulet, which targets again another additional enemy. And we can hit enemies 40% further away, plus the Ascendancy, which gives us an additional nearby enemies targeted and 50% further away. So basically, we are targeting enemies 90% further away, and we are hitting up to 5 additional nearby enemy. I'm not using that right now on my build because already just with the gloves implicit and with the Ascendancy, it's already a lot of additional enemies. Also, I have to mention that on the gloves implicit, I'm using while unique enemy is in your presence. So since we are farming Rogue Exile, we are constantly nearby a unique enemy. So this is triggering all the time. If you are farming a different strategy, you can go for the other version of the implicit, where you're going to have only 2 strike an additional target. It's absolutely fine. It's already more than enough. Just know that this is really good if you're farming stuff with unique enemies around. So this is for the quality of life, clear speed, and so on. About the defensive aspect, there's a 3 main component for the build. To begin with, we have high maximum elemental resistance. We have 89 on every elemental resistance, and we could go up to 90%, but for that I would need the add-on 100%, and I don't want to invest anymore in this build. I'm pretty done with it, so this is why I'm not at 90%. But if we were to have a 100%, it would multiply the effect of our jewel with plus maximum resistance, this one right here. And instead of +3 to maximum fire, we would get +4. How do we get so much elemental resistance? It's with the Forbidden Flesh and Flame, and we are allocating Valaco, and maximum fire resistance is applied to cold and lightning resistance as well. So we are also using, of course, a Flask to get +5 maximum resistance, and with Mageblood we have increased effect, and this is how we get so much maximum fire resistance. Then the other aspect of the defense is the charges. This is why we are using Royal Cache in Patience, mainly because we are stacking quite a lot of endurance charge. We have currently 10. You don't necessarily need to have 10 if you don't have the implicit on the Royal Cache, which is a bit expensive. It's going to be fine with 9. We are getting most of them with the Ascendancy, +3 on this node, and then we are grabbing the other ones on the tree, so this is an additional 3 endurance charge. This is giving us a lot of defense. We get physical damage reduction per charge, elemental damage reduction per charge as well, and also some life regeneration, which is also good because the last aspect of the defense that we are getting on this build is the recoup, life regen, and the damage prevention, if I can put it that way. So the Ancestral Defiance works like Defiance of Destiny Amulet. So before getting hit, there is a percentage of the damage that you recover before being hit. So we are also getting some life recoup on the ring. And we are using Vitality because we are using a gel like this one with +1 to all maximum elemental resistance. Crit multi, but also gain life per hit. And since we are hitting so much with Molten Strike of the Zenith, it's firing, as you can see on the tooltip, it's firing 8 projectiles. The attack is repeating twice, and the attack time for me right now is 0.26, but during combat it's more than that because as soon as we hit the target, we are getting some more attack speed. Then you see it's 0.19. So you can see that once we are in combat, it's gonna be about 5 attacks per second, a bit more than that. So with the basic attack, it's gonna be 8 projectile repeated 2 additional times. So it's going to be 24 projectile times 5. It's going to be a bit more than 120 projectile per second. So you can imagine the amount of life we get on hit just like that. And on top of that, we get the leech and everything. So the build is very, very tanky like that. Another layer of defense that we are using is Born Under Fire. Nearby enemy converts 50% of their physical damage to fire. This is really important. It doesn't stack with physical damage taken as, so you cannot do like taken as lightning, taken as cold, or taken as fire. And this is why we are not using the implicit for fist taken as on the implicit on the helm. We are using increased effect of non-damaging element. And also some fire damage taken recouped as life. You could take some other recoup, you could take physical recoup as, but fire is just the best here. One last layer of defense that I want to talk about is the enemy blind. Blinded enemy are going to have 20% less accuracy. I'm using 2 blind tattoos. You really don't need that much since we are hitting so many times every second. Just 5% chance is guaranteeing you to have the enemy blinded all the time. Next up, let's speak about the main component of the build, which is stacking life. The best way of stacking life right now is to use Abyss jewels. You want to have the add-on to be able to maximize the effect of the jewels. You also want to have as many cluster as you can. I'm using just the normal rare large cluster. End game, very, very end game. If you want to push this build even further, you could remove all the rare large cluster except the one with Blood Scent. You could remove all of them. Blood Scent is really nice for the rage, so I would keep that. You could maybe find a Megalomaniac to replace that one and get 4 1 passive voices, but that would be investing like just 10 mirrors into clusters. If you have the money, you can go for that. I don't have the budget for that, so this is fine like that. If we were having like 4 1 passive voices, we would have like 4 additional Abyss jewels, so obviously that would be really good. So for the jewels, this is this kind of jewel that we want to have. Basically what I was trying to do with the jewels is to get something with a nice implicit. The 3 implicit were just too expensive, so I went with 2 implicit every time, and then I slammed items sells for much more to vendors. And then roll the jewels with alternation, spam until you get the desired mod. It's gonna take a while. It's not expensive. It's very annoying though. It's a long process. It takes like I think I did about 8 because I was trying to hit like the absolute perfection, and I kept the 4 that I liked the most. And I've sold the other one. Most of them, I think I still have a couple laying around. Yeah, like this one. It took me like a day to craft all of them. So if you're dedicated to the task, you're gonna get there. It's just quite annoying, and you may want to buy them. They are a bit expensive, but not that much, honestly. So up to you. Then what we need to talk about is the Secret of Suffering. Why is it that good with this build? Is because it's a bit hard to get critical strike chance. Sap is definitely good because enemy deal up to 20% less damage, so this is a really additional good layer of defense, right? The Scourge lowered the elemental resistance. This is okay. Not that amazing, but this is still good. But the best part is definitely the +6 to critical strike chance. This is not like increase strike chance like you have, for instance, here or on like jewels, gears, and so on. This is like if you add on your weapon, if you see the critical strike chance here, Void Forge has a very, very low crit chance. It's 5 base crit chance. So with Secret of Suffering, it's actually 11. It's more than doubling the crit chance that we have. So this is for Secret of Suffering. Then we can speak quickly about the large clusters. We want to have Martial Prowess and Feed the Fury. The last one is optional. It can be Fuel the Fight, and it can be Smite the Weak, just to have the right composition on the right order. Because the last one, we are never taking it, so it doesn't really matter. We don't use mana whatsoever, so the mana leech doesn't matter. And Feed the Fury is better because we have the increased attack speed while leeching. And this is something that I should probably speak about before we keep going, is the stat priority of the gears. Obviously, we are life stacker, so you want to stack as much life as you can, but also the main skill is Molten Strike of the Nimis. So why is this skill so good is because the 5th attack is dealing 1030% more damage with hits and ailment. This is phenomenal. This kind of more damage, we don't see that anywhere else in the game. This is completely insane. Let me show you the PoB so you understand what that means. You can see here I have the calculation on the 5th attack, and this is close to 200 million DPS. If we just take the total weight for like any attack, so it's going to include the normal 4 first attack and the last one, we are going down to almost 50 million DPS. Still good, but this is nothing compared to the amount of DPS that we have for that. And you can see it on the footage on the background. When the 5th attack is triggering, you can see the life of the boss going completely down like crazy fast. So you can see the effect of the 5th attack. And this is why we want to stack as much attack speed as we can, because we want to have the 5th attack occurring as much as we can, right? So this is why Feed the Fury is really good here. And then Martial Prowess, because we are getting some global accuracy. Accuracy is going to be an issue for the build. This is also why we have accuracy rating tier 1 on the gloves and on the helm. Because otherwise, like if you check my offense right now with this, I'm at 100% chance to hit. But if I remove the gloves, you can see that I'm going down to 87 already. So that can be a real issue. And if you're running some map with less accuracy, that's going to hurt, especially with the increased effect of explicit. If you are running this kind of idols, that's going to hurt a lot. That's why we are using these 2 nodes on this one. On the cluster with Blood Scent, you want to have Feed the Fury next to it, because again, attack speed is the best. We are leeching life all the time because we are running with petrified blood, so our life can never go above 55% because we count on low life at 55% with the mastery here. And then it makes sure that we are always leeching. Since we cannot go above, but we are not reaching full life, we are always leeching. The PoB is going to be down in the description, so if you need more time to explore with the tree, you can definitely use the link. I'm going to speak a bit more about the gears now. We are using Shroud of Lightness, of course, to get more Abyss Jewels, but also it's giving us elemental damage penetration. It's giving us life, so very good overall. The trigger level 20 shade form really doesn't matter because it's like 1 to 3 seconds. I don't remember exactly. Probably 3 seconds every 20 or 40 seconds. So this is completely neglectable. Void Forge is extremely good because we have so much physical damage as extra. We deal absolutely no physical damage, so in a way this is good because every map with physical reflection, we don't care. The maps with elemental damage reflection, we don't care so much, but you need to be careful. With our main ability, we are immune to elemental reflection, but with Lip Slam, you can still die. And believe me, if you Lip Slam into a pack of monster during elemental reflection map, you're gonna die. So what I do for elemental reflection maps, I just disable it. This is maybe not the best solution. If you have different colors on your gears, maybe you can swap with Frost Blink. It's going to be absolutely fine. You're not going to die from reflection from Frost Blink if it's level 1. It's totally fine to remove Lip Slam. This is my option. You can go with something else. I am sure if you don't like this option, not to have the movement scalability, you can find something else. So this is about Void Forge, very strong. It's not difficult to get the enchantment on the weapon. It's gonna give you an additional like 50 to 78, I believe, with the maximum roll for the enchantment. Don't buy an expensive sword with the enchantment. At some point, when the build started to be popular, I was crafting this weapon for money, and I was just slamming like between 2 to 10 orbs, and I was getting the enchantment. Then I was using the beast recipe to 6-link the sword, and I was making like 20 to 30 divines profit per item, which is completely insane for such an easy craft. Don't buy them with the proper enchantment, just buy a few orbs. They are quite cheap. The price went up a bit. I think this is half a divine per orb now. Definitely you can hit the right enchantment and the 6-link very easily without spending all your money. Then Nimis, obviously, projectile return to you, extremely good. The ring, chaos resistance, you want chaos resistance on every gears. If you can get good chaos resistance also on the boots, that's good. I believe I'm still lacking 3 chaos resistance to be capped. It's just that I need to use a few divines on my ring, nothing special here. You want to have tier 1 intelligence on the ring. You can use essence, that works as well, because otherwise you are not going to have enough intelligence to make the build work. You don't need as much intelligence as I have here. Maybe you could be fine with less intelligence on the ring. Also, you can see on the footage behind the crafting process for the gears. There's 4 pieces of gears that you want to craft yourself on the items beyond the abyssal jewels. I forgot to mention also for the abyssal jewels that we are using a few rare ones. There's 4 rares because add-on is only for the abyss jewel that are on the tree. It doesn't work for your abyss jewel on your equipment. And we are using this jewel to get even more critical strike chance. As I said before, critical strike chance is difficult to get for this build, so we are using this to get most of our critical strike chance increased. So back to the 4 items that we're gonna craft. I'm just gonna start with the amulet. You can definitely use Defiance of Destiny here. That's gonna be really good. Defensively, it's gonna be very strong. You're gonna lose quite a lot of damage with that. If we check, let me just show you. So this is Defiance of Destiny, and gaining 24 missing life unreserved before being hit. That's a lot. That's a lot of defense. This is the best layer of defense that you can have. I would definitely recommend to use that if you don't have the money for the focused amulet, and this is really good. Don't underestimate that amulet versus the focused, especially for the price that it costs. So what you do for this one is it's extremely simple. You buy critical strike multiplayer essence, you slam it until tier 1 life. If you have an additional affix, you need to annul it. So it's a 1 in 3 when you do that. And then you craft increased proj speed and proj damage. And then you lock and you pray with the mist that you are going to hit the like 2 times value and up for the crit multi and life, and it's going to reduce the other one. It's nice to have the reduce proj speed, because then the overlap for your Molten Struck of the Zenith is going to be even more consistent. So this is a lot more single target DPS. Then let's speak about the gears that you are really likely to be crafting yourself. This is going to be the ring, the gloves, and the helm. If you're looking with the perfect modifier on these items, you're probably not going to find them. If we check what we have here with the Abyssal Socket and the accuracy, even without the accuracy, there's nothing. If you check offline, maybe there is none. Just without the accuracy, not even. So maybe if we remove the armor, I don't know. There is one for 90 Divine. So it exists. 90 Divine, does it has the leech? Yes, it does. So 90 Divines for the glove, it's completely stupid. I would definitely not recommend to do that, and it's going to be even more expensive for the ring, I believe. So see, there is none existing like that. Maybe offline, there's one for 180 Divines. This is way too expensive. Definitely don't buy any items like that. If you have the money, you can go for it, of course. But let me explain to you the process to craft any of these gears. For the gloves and the helm, this is exactly the same. For the ring, it's slightly different, but it's relatively similar. So for the gloves, what you do, to begin with, you need to slam Force Seal to get the Abyssal Socket. And then you need to use a Fracture Orb to fracture the Abyssal Socket. That can be really easy. It's supposedly in 1 in 4. You need to make sure that before you slam to get only 4 modifiers, because if you get more, you have less chance to hit the Abyssal Socket, of course, with the Fracturing Orb. If you have less, it's not possible, you need 4. So what you do, if when you slam the Force Seal and you have more than 4 modifiers, you use the Eldritch Orb of Annulment, and you make sure that Searing Exarch is dominant, so it's going to remove a prefix. The Abyssal Socket is a suffix, so you make sure that it's not going to remove the wrong modifier, right? Once you hit the Abyssal Socket, you have 2 options. The first one is to use Chaos Essence. That works, but it goes only up to 34%. That's definitely fine. It's just a bit less good than Tier 1 Chaos Resistance. You can also do Reforge Chaos until you hit Tier 1 Accuracy. This is really easy, so since the Life Force right now, this league is so freaking cheap. I believe this is a yellow Life Force. You can see that for 1 Divine, you can still get quite a lot of Life Force. It went up a bit because we are getting closer to the end of the event, so like there's 1 month if they don't extend, but they are likely to extend the event, I guess, because it's being so popular. So definitely the Life Force is very cheap. You can do Reforge Chaos until you hit Tier 1 Chaos Resistance and Tier 1 Accuracy. The prefixes are kind of easier to achieve. You just need to have an open prefix, and then what you do, suffixes cannot be changed, and then Reforge Life on the Harvest bench. For the suffixes cannot be changed, don't spend 2 Divines every time. You can use the Metacraft with the Beast. You do Reforge until you hit Tier 1 Life. You can see the footage on the background, so you have an idea of how it's gonna go. Basically, if you do the Reforge and you hit Tier 1 or Tier 2 Hybrid Armor, you can definitely keep that and try to slam Tier 1 Life with an Exalt. If you don't, you can always annul with, again, an Eldritch Orb of Annulment, but make sure that you always keep 1 affix open, and before you slam, you craft Increased Armor or Flat Armor, because this is the highest weight that you can have on the prefixes, so you need to block that before you slam Life, and then it's going to happen eventually, you're going to get Tier 1 Life. So this is the same process exactly for the helm, so I'm not going to go over that. For the ring, it's slightly different. To begin with the ring, you need to fracture elemental damage with attack. This is the same process as for fracturing the Abyssal Socket on the gloves or the helm. This is a 1 in 4 again. What you do, you buy the base. For the ring, you need item level 82 or up. You don't need to get a level 86. Then what I did is I went to the bench, Harvest bench, and I did a Reforge attack. until I hit tier 1 elemental damage with attack skills. I did get like 8 rings like that, and then I bought the orbs and I fracture all of them. It's a lot more difficult to achieve the suffixes because we don't have any fracture suffix on the ring. We need to get 3 tier 1 suffixes. This is really difficult. There is 2 ways you can go with that. You can go with the life force with the harvest bench, or you can go with essences. For the life force on the bench, there's 2 ways. You can do reforge life, but there's way too many life modifier on the ring, so I definitely don't recommend that. You can go with reforge chaos, but again, I don't recommend that one because it's just first you need to hit tier 1 recoup life. And again, this is not a high weight for that modifier, so it's going to take a lot of time. But even with the chaos resistance is the only chaos modifier that you can have, so you're going to have chaos resistance every time when you do reforge chaos. But you need to hit tier 1, and on top of that, you also need to hit tier 1 intelligence. You could probably settle for tier 3 or tier 2, but it's going to take a lot of reforge until you get tier 1 recoup and tier 1 chaos and some decent intelligence on top of that. So the preferable option is to use intelligence essence. I think I've used about 500 to 600, maybe 800 even, I don't remember exactly. I did buy a lot. I didn't keep track of how many I did spend. I can tell you that it's going to be the difficult process. And on the entire build, this is probably the most difficult one of them. So what you do once you finish the suffixes, if you fill up the prefixes, you're going to have to annul. There's no way around that, and you're going to pray not to annul a suffix. If you have one open prefix, then you craft suffixes cannot be changed. You score the item, then you craft mana, and you slam an orb. Since we have the prefix increase elemental damage with attack, which is fractured, we have only one slam. So every time you're gonna do craft mana, slam exalted orb until you get tier 1 life, or tier 2, as you can see I did settle for tier 2 life because this is quite expensive. And then if you don't hit tier 1 or tier 2 life, you're gonna craft suffix cannot be changed. Again, you can use the Beastcraft to get that is going to be less expensive. Suffix cannot be changed. You score the item to remove the prefixes, and then again you craft mana, you slam, and you repeat the process. Score the item with a suffix cannot be changed, and so on. It's going to take a while. The life modifier has a very high weight, so it should not be that long, but this is tiring and the money goes down the drain quickly, so this is why it's psychologically, it's a bit painful. I think I need to speak about the flask. Probably we are using one with 20% elemental resistance. We are using, of course, diamond flask for the crit chance. We are using non-slot flask with crit chance, or I mean the suffixes, you can get them on any of the flask. Don't get the crit chance on the diamond flask. If you're crafting yourself, it's fine. If you're buying, don't do that. Because when you match something with the flask, it's more expensive. If you check a flask, a diamond flask with tier 1 crit chance, it's going to be extremely expensive. If you get like reduced effect of curse, it's going to be very, very cheap. Same thing for the Quicksilver. Usually the Quicksilver is the cheapest of the flasks. So here I did craft myself. This is why I have the regeneration on the Quicksilver. Definitely the crit chance or the elemental resistance, you should rather try to get them on the Quicksilver. That should be the cheapest way. But on the suffix, you want the resistance again, the crit chance, and the reduced curse effect. So basically with that, we are immune to curse. You need basically 52% for the curse effect to get full immunity. You don't need to get tier 1. One word on the Mageblood, you want to have some decent dexterity. I think you need at least 36. You don't want to have the lowest amount. It's better to have more dexterity because then you have some flexibility on your tree to use some tattoos. I need the cold resistance, for instance, because otherwise my cold resistance is not capped. So definitely make sure that you get a Mageblood with some decent dexterity. I just wanted to mention that. Also, I got a really good dexterity on my Nimis. If you have less dexterity on your Nimis, you're gonna need more on your Mageblood. So make sure that you balance the two items like that. There's two last things that I want to mention for this video. This is going to be the map modifier and the leveling aspect of the build. I'm gonna start with the map modifier. There's a few modifiers that are really annoying. We can run absolutely everything in the game. I don't care about the modifiers. I just pick a map, any map whatsoever. I really don't care. I'm never checking the modifier. We can run absolutely everything, but there's some that are going to get you killed. You are most likely going to be able to complete the map, but you are going to use 6 portal in some case because some modifiers, they are just too strong. The first one is minus maximum elemental resistance. Since we are really tanky, when you get like minus 20 max res, this is gonna hurt. Next modifier that's gonna be annoying, it's the less life recovery. It is going to hurt quite a lot. I didn't notice it that much when I was rolling maps, but when I'm taking altars during maps, Eldritch altars, and I get less recovery from them on top of the less life recovery from the map modifier, when you stack them together, it hurts a lot. Basically, the recoup, the regen, and everything that we have for the layer of defense, it's gonna be almost non-existent. And this is where the jewel that we have, the Watcher's Eye, is really important, because this is going to be the last layer of defense that we have in terms of recovery. The gain life per enemy hit, it's gonna make you survive in this kind of situation. So if you don't want to run this kind of map, I would totally understand, and it's going to be difficult if you do. And the last modifier that I want to mention is the one from the altar that gives you minus physical damage reduction. That is one of the modifiers from the altar that hurts me the most. All the other, I think they are manageable, except for the less life recovery. But the minus physical damage reduction, it hurts a lot. When I'm taking this altar, this is where I'm starting to die in any map. You can absolutely survive it, but you're gonna get one shot here and there, I can guarantee you that. So if you don't want to die, you should probably avoid this kind of modifier on the altar. And then for the last part of this video, the leveling process for the build, there's the General's Cry Tectonic Slam of Cataclysm that James Grown was playing in the beginning of the league, which is really good to level this character, I believe. I didn't try that myself, but this is definitely something that you can do if you want to have a regular way of leveling the build. I would definitely recommend my option, which is leveling with Hollow Palm Technique, even though the Marauder is on the left side of the tree and a bit far from the dexterity area. This is still the absolutely best option that we have to level. It's going to be really fast, really strong, really easy. You have the link of the video on top of the screen right now, and you can follow that if you need any advice, if you don't know how it works. But yeah, Hollow Palm Technique is still the absolute best way of leveling a character. Definitely use that, it's going to be fast. That's pretty much it for the video. If I forgot to mention anything, let me know in the comment. If you have any question, I'm trying to always answer any comment in my videos. Please like and subscribe, and until my next video, take care of yourself and bye!